Hi, in this review I'll be covering the SOG Tac Automatic Tactical Knife. This is it. It's a super cool knife, has a lot of great features for the money, namely 125 bucks. It lists, I believe, for 160, and if you look around you can find it for 125, maybe even less online for dealers that will deal in automatic knives. This is an automatic knife, not a manual knife, so please adhere to your local jurisdictions, laws, and regulations concerning such. Enough said on that. Cover the features of this knife, and then I'll briefly cover some competitors out of my own collection and give my thoughts on some features that I think are really cool and some that are not so cool. First off, let's talk about the SOG Tac Auto, the one I have right here. This is a plain edge, satin finished version of that knife. Hopefully you can see a good view of it. First and foremost, the blade. I'm really happy with the blade shape. The sweep is outstanding. It's got a good slashing capability, which is very useful in a tactical knife in my opinion. It's got a reinforced, properly chiseled point for piercing should the need arise. Jimping on the back of the blade is outstanding. It's not just for show like a lot of blades are. It's actually deep enough and purposeful enough to give your thumb good purchase on the back of that spine should you need to control your blade in that fashion. Really helpful. Good job, SOG, on that jimping on the back of the blade. Really nice. The chisel or the grind of the blade is very similar to MicroTech and Pro Tec, with a little bit more belly in the blade, which I think is nice. It has a lot more slashing capability should you have to do that. Here's the safety on this side. The safety is kind of not needed in most automatic knives. That's my opinion only, nothing more than that. But should you need it, engage as such. Here's your deployment button. It'll prevent deployment accordingly. Speaking of the deployment button, I do have a little bit of a criticism on that, and that is it's too small. I'm in the military. I'm actually kind of moving away from using automatic knives, and the reason is the deployment button on many of them can be confused with the pivot button, i.e. it's not a button but it feels like it. In the dark, under stress, it's real easy to come up here and push this thinking, man, why am I not getting my blade out? By the way, I have done that under stress. How you doing? And you've got to practice with that deployment button to the point where it's second nature to you. So in this SOG Tac Auto, should this be your primary tactical knife, you need to sit by your television, whatever, just actuate it over and over again. So without thinking about it, you know exactly where it is by memory feel deployment button. Obviously that will go with any automatic tactical blade. Practice with it, train with it. It's got a nice engraved SOG logo in here. G10 additions on each side of the anodized aluminum handle, which is kind of cool. Very nice looking knife overall, I would say. They got kind of a gimmick in here. It's a glow-in-the-dark logo. You'll see as the camera transitions tonight, you'll be able to see that, the SOG logo. Kind of cool. Doesn't inhibit function in any way, so I'll take it. It's kind of neat. I would like to see jimping on the back spine of the blade. I'm sorry, of the handle. It's very slick. That's a criticism I could level at a lot of tactical knives. They just really need to do a better job of providing a better purchase on the handle. Show is good, but function's better in my book. There's your lanyard hole there. And here we go again with a super well executed pocket clip, typical of SOG knives. Nice and deep, tempered hard steel. It's just really the perfect and ideal pocket clip. It buries this deep in the pocket for concealment purposes and also security purposes, so it doesn't flip out and you lose your blade, kind of like I talked about in my SOG Flash 1 video. You can see also it's got the indentations for your fingers. I don't find them to impede the grip in any way. I'm kind of neutral on them. I don't have a problem with it. I haven't really tested the blade as far as edge holding. I have tested a lot of other SOG AUS-8 blades, and they're okay. I rank them medium capability as far as edge holding. This blade should have come a lot sharper from the factory if you ask me. It's just medium sharp. The lockup is fairly solid. I did have a very slight up and down play that actually I don't detect anymore. I don't know if it just wore out or what. And the side to side was tight, and if it's not, you have a pivot on that side that you can actually tighten up and Loctite should the need arise. Overall, for $125, the SOG Tac Auto compares pretty favorably with some other high-end offerings, which I'll show you here in just a sec. Also, it's lightweight, 3.8 ounces. In my opinion, this is just me, but anything over 4 ounces will generally get left at home, especially if I'm packing another weapon of some kind. It just doesn't work. So 4 ounces is kind of my limitation. 3.8 works fine. Let's look at some competitors. First off, BenchMade Stryker. This is another automatic knife. This time the blade is made as 154 cm steel. A little bit higher quality, a little bit harder, I guess, than the AUS-8. I'm not a steel expert, but I have a lot of experience using them in various forms. Nice jimping on the back. Kind of short. I would like to see this ramp extended a little bit, but that's okay. It's very short jimping, but it is effective. There's a safety on the Stryker. Same comments apply on that safety if you ask me. Small actuation button, just like the SOG Tac Auto. I think that's fairly typical for a lot of automatic knives. Handle scales are like several other BenchMade models, maybe slightly too thick. That's just my opinion. But they're adequate. This knife is a little heavier than the SOG Tac Auto at 4.2 ounces, if I can speak. So it is a little bit heavier. The clip is mounted a little too low. That's a pet peeve of mine, although it is on the correct end for a tip-up click carry, so it's faster deploying. The handle is matte finished anodized aluminum, which provides good traction, but feels a little chalky under your hand, so it's okay. It's adequate. The lockup was not super tight on this. I had to dink around with the pivot screw quite a bit till I got it to where I wanted it, so there's no wiggle, and also I didn't slow down the deployment speed. Speaking of which, the deployment speed on the BenchMade Stryker is slow. SOG Tac Auto is a lot faster. Overall, I give this knife a B. And yes, it's in my collection. Next up, MicroTech UDT. This is a limited edition desert camo version. In fact, I don't know if you can even find this knife anymore except from collectors. They've moved on. However, I'm showing it because it kind of represents the same type of knife that the SOG Tac Auto does, and that is a medium-sized belly-bladed tactical automatic knife. SOG Tac Auto has a bigger deployment button. Good job. I'm sorry, this is a MicroTech. Has a bigger deployment button. I like that better. Here's your safety. Clips mounted too low. Handle scales, they're about right. Flow through design, i.e. the mud, grit, blood, whatever you got going there, will go right through the handle, which is cool. Vault-like lockup, like all MicroTech knives. Super fast deployment speed. Ultra quality. It is a more expensive knife than the SOG Tac Auto. I believe I got this one for around $150. It's probably worth more than that now since it's collectible. I don't have a lot of use on this knife, as you can tell. MicroTech, like all their blades, comes really sharp. There's a 154 cm blade. It's an outstanding knife. Weighs same, 3.8 ounces. Next up, Pro Tec Tactical Response 3 knife. This is a wonderful knife, one of my favorites. It's a limited edition gray version with traction inserts made of rubber, not sand in this specific example. Deployment button slightly larger than the SOG Tac Auto. Jimping in this case is on the handle itself, and it is effective. It's not so radiused that it doesn't provide traction for your thumb. It works great. Nice belly to the blade, better than that Stryker knife that I showed you earlier. 154 cm, really nice lockup in the Pro Tecs. Flow through design. Kind of a miss on the pocket clip, and probably an outcome of its design, so it sits a little bit higher in the pocket than it should. 3.8 ounces, same as the SOG Tac Auto. Outstanding knife, super fast deployment. Hold it tight when you fire this bad boy off, it's going to go flying. Anyways, those are some other competitors for the SOG Tac Auto. But back to the SOG Tac. Overall, it compares favorably to all these other autos, all of which are more expensive than the SOG Tac. It may or may not have superior features, but in my opinion, the SOG Tac stacks up very favorably. Good blade steel, outstanding construction, excellent company that will provide any type of customer support you need. Really cool looking, perfect pocket clip. That in itself is 2 grade points. I'll probably give the SOG Tac Auto A- overall. I'd recommend it for any of your tactical needs. Good luck. Hope this helps. Nothing fancy out.